When you first glance at these videos, you might think you're watching an intense martial arts showdown, fighters colliding with raw power, or fearless warriors guarding their homeland. But here's the twist. The fighters are not trained athletes. They're elderly Chinese women. Women who, at first sight, seem frail and harmless, yet the moment chaos erupts, they unleash a shocking burst of energy, whether it's a balloon drifting into a crowd, a coveted seat on a packed train, or scraps of food left at a banquet. These grandmothers throw themselves in like seasoned gladiators, unwilling to step back, unwilling to lose. And nowhere else on earth will you witness such surreal spectacles as often as you do in China. But what drives them into this frenzy? Let's dive in. In one viral video, a bride's happiest moment was turned upside down. A swarm of elderly women rushed forward, clawing at her hands for red envelopes, shouting threats that stunned onlookers. If you don't hand them over, no one leaves this village. Some women even shoved their arms through the car window, rummaging through the bride's lap to snatch the envelopes. Others surrounded the wedding car completely, like a siege. Once the video hit social media, outrage exploded. "This isn't a wedding, it's a public mugging," one netizen fumed. Another wrote, "The poor bride will carry this trauma for life." A sacred day turned into pure humiliation. In another shocking clip, a middle-aged woman hurled herself in front of the wedding car, refusing to move an inch until she received a red envelope. In Henan, witnesses filmed elderly women blocking a groom's car, even after gifts and candies had already been distributed. They clung to relatives, pulled at clothes, and screamed until they got more. By the end, the bride's family was encircled, with envelopes and gifts ripped right out of their hands. Voices can be heard in the chaos. "We've given everything away. Stop blocking the car!" Yet the women wouldn't budge. The scenes grew even more shocking outside the wedding venue. Festive music played inside, but outside, a brawl broke out. Elderly women lunged, shoved, cursed, and tore at each other over envelopes. Some collapsed onto the ground as others ripped the prizes from their hands. Two women clung so fiercely to the same envelope that their faces flushed red, their clothes were pulled askew, and in the end, the envelope ripped to shreds. Social media erupted with fury. "This is not a wedding, this is street robbery." How can people degrade themselves like this over a few yuan? The bride and groom were robbed of their, well, it looks like a circus. Another viral video shows villagers chasing a wedding car, grabbing candies, cigarettes, and envelopes like a looting mob. Netizens blasted the footage. "Stop posting these disgraceful scenes. You're embarrassing the whole country. What kind of tradition is this?" Originally, blocking a wedding car was meant to be a cheerful custom, a playful way to bless the couple with candies or a small token of luck. But now it has spiraled into something ugly, an excuse for greed and harassment. As one commenter summed it up, "This isn't a blessing anymore. It's daylight robbery. A day that should be filled with party has become a nightmare." In one viral moment, a vegetable seller was seen running after an elderly woman, shouting desperately, "Auntie, you forgot to pay for your vegetables." Instead of admitting the mistake, the woman snapped back, insisting she had already paid. The vendor tried to explain that the 12 yuan payment never went through because the machine didn't beep, but the woman only grew louder, glaring and barking. "Don't accuse me. Do I look like someone who would steal vegetables?" The seller, on the verge of tears, begged her to simply show the record on her phone. But the woman refused, angrily accusing the seller of humiliating her. When the vendor finally said, "If you won't pay, then leave the vegetables here. I won't sell them to you," the elderly woman doubled down, shouting insults and refusing to give up. At another event where free food was handed out, the atmosphere turned chaotic the second the pot appeared. Elderly men and women shoved forward in a frenzy, grabbing whatever they could, shouting at each other as hands flew in from all directions. The crowd grew so aggressive that one person was even knocked to the ground. What was supposed to be a kind-hearted community gesture turned into a scene of disorder and embarrassment. Clips of the chaos spread online, leaving netizens shaking their heads. How can this happen in a country that calls itself the world's second-largest economy? Nobody lacks food anymore. So why are the elderly still acting this way, throwing away their dignity for a few bites? Still, not everyone joined the criticism. Some voices online argued for empathy, saying that this kind of behavior comes from history and hardship. One commenter explained, most of these old people lived through famine. They grew up starving. For them, food is not just food, it's survival. Young people don't get it because they've never gone hungry. It's true, while today's families can afford meat, rice, and vegetables without worry, the older generation still carries memories of nights when an entire family shared a single bun. To them, free food or even a simple discount awakens emotions rooted in survival. Inside supermarkets, the pattern repeats. Whenever buns or eggs are given away, the elderly appear faster than anyone else. Their backs straighten, their legs move swiftly, and their reflexes seem sharper than the young. Why? Because to them, a bun is not just a bun. It is a memory, a symbol of hunger overcome, a reminder of frugality that kept them alive. Even though they can buy food now, the sight of free buns sparks an instinct to grab before it's gone. To the youth, it looks ridiculous. To them, it's survival carved into their very bones. And supermarkets know how to play this game. They deliberately use free buns as bait. The cost is tiny, but it draws crowds of elderly who then buy vegetables, rice, or household goods. What looks like chaos is actually a marketing strategy. For the elderly, it's also about more than food. After clutching their prize, they gather to gossip about where to buy the cheapest cabbage or who's joining the next square dance. For them, these scrambles become a social club, a place to connect and belong. So maybe instead of mocking, we should recognize that for this generation, fighting for a bun is as much about memories and companionship as it is about the bun itself. The phenomenon doesn't stop there. Across China, the elderly can be seen lining up whenever a new store opens, waiting for free soap, oil, or rice. During holiday sales, they squeeze onto buses and tricycles, rushing to supermarkets to hoard discounted goods. Scenes like these play out everywhere. Psychologists point to several reasons. First, it's a way to fight loneliness and find community among people their age. Second, it's the shadow of a lifetime of hardship where every grain of rice mattered. Third, free gifts give them a sense of purpose, that they are still contributing to the household by saving money. And fourth, many have no real pension, so every small saving matters in stretching a tight budget. Instead of ridiculing them, perhaps we should show more understanding. These are people who built the foundations of today's society through sacrifice and struggle. Respecting them means not just laughing at their scrambles for freebies, but also reminding them of their worth, listening to their stories, and making them feel needed. After all, one day, when we grow old, we may also find joy in something as simple as lining up for a hot bun or a free gift. Sometimes the truest happiness is found in the simplest things. At a KFC food bank in Shanghai, an astonishing scene unfolded. Elderly men and women rushed forward, pushing and grabbing for free fried chicken. The clip quickly spread online, sparking harsh comments about the low quality of ordinary Chinese people. But is it really fair to laugh at them? Or are we witnessing something deeper than just a scramble for food? After all, the instinct to grab something free is not unique to China. Across the world, people fight for resources. Some battle in courtrooms for patents, others exploit financial loopholes, and nations even wage wars to seize oil or land. If countries can justify bloodshed over resources, why mock a few grandparents for filling their fridges with leftovers? Behind this frenzy lies a hidden history. Most of these elderly people lived through the Great Leap Forward from 1958 to 1962, a political campaign that promised prosperity but instead created the deadliest famine in human history. While warehouses were full of grain for export, villages in Anhui, Henan, and Sichuan were starving. Between 15 and 55 million people perished, not from natural disaster, but from reckless policy, lies, and the silencing of truth. That famine was a nightmare beyond imagination. Entire families died. Migration was banned. Escape meant prison or execution. People first scavenged tree bark and corpses. Later, in the darkest accounts, some even killed their own children just to survive. Hunger stripped away morality itself, leaving scars that no recovery could erase. This trauma shaped a whole generation. The fear of starvation never left them. Thrift and obsession with food became second nature, etched into their bones by years of suffering. That is why even today, an elderly grandmother may risk being shoved to the ground just to grab a free bun. It is not greed, it is survival. So when you see those crowds in Shanghai, don't just see desperation. See history, see memory, see resilience. Behind every grab for chicken is a silent echo of famine, a reminder that what looks like low quality is often just the instinct to live, passed down from a time when hunger ruled everything. The chaos we see in today's China is not random. It is the result of decades shaped by the Communist Party's ideology of struggle. From childhood, generations were taught to fight, not to share, to survive, not to trust. The Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution carved hunger, fear, and suspicion deep into the national psyche. Even today, people push for food, compete ruthlessly in schools, and crush each other in business because they believe survival depends on defeating others. This endless cycle of struggle has created a society where compassion fades and desperation rules. Instead of community, there is rivalry. Instead of security, only fear of being left behind. What looks like chaos in a supermarket or at a wedding banquet is, in truth, the shadow of a system that has trained people to fight for every grain of rice. The tragedy is not just poverty or hunger. It is that an entire nation has been molded by an ideology that equates living with struggling.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.